Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. August 6th, 2022. August 6th, 2022. Of course, with me, I get Comrade Koita. I get with brother Chenoba of the African Express. Hopefully, Cashbox could join me and People's Power could join me later. Salon people, of course, again, like I say, then Saturday morning messages there. We know how long I get used to them, but it is what it is. Now, from now on, I saw the schedule and the clash. And now the time this way for do it in the messages there. It's very tough scheduling, balancing, waking up, left you bed 4 o'clock morning just for do a message. But it is what it is. It's the sacrifices that we make. So, with the camp, break down a lot of things. A lot of things that happened over the past few days. Within, especially, we talk again about the state capture, of the opposition political party, the opposition within the opposition, everything that is happening. Alfred Peter Conte. I know say there's a video again. We'll reshare that video when we become out now. I put out this video and tell them, say, hey, Alfred Peter Conte, give me the verdict before the judge if he can tell me what's going to happen within the APC party. This is somebody we for pay attention to. But hey, people are like, hey, Brian Bo, I can't talk now. Saloma no respect history. We tell them, say Alfred Peter Conte came, tell me for say, hey, the binary, it's 0 or 1. The 0, now either the party and resign, or the 1, the courts, and they go tell them for say they're not legit. Then the reverend come out of the party, then we form an interim committee, and then we go into elections. And then it's always all tell we say, the second part of the fact, now that the people that will get kissed in the court, they get for be blunt, then people and then they get kissed, then they go outside and kiss them. Then they come to the party, the constitution, they allow them. All that nonsense, big talk. We tell them, say, this is the plan of Alfred Peter Conte, and in cabal, all of these other people that are in the background, where they fought for destroy the APC party and with democracy, because this is not about APC, it's about a democracy, about our institutions, our democratic institutions. This is why these things are very critical. Salon people, we see Alfred Peter Conte, they pull letters now over the past few days. Don't say you don't give clemency, you don't give amnesty. All man free now for can join the party. So would I be get keso when they give the party now? Yes, the chairman don't come out where you don't get right, you don't get the power, you don't get the mandate according to the constitution of the APC. We don't say that the NAC committee no more get the advantage and get the mandate for able to go and make and mend the issues that were there around, our membership within the political party. Waiting at the responsibility of the 21-man committee is straightforward and simple. Now, for them to get the party to a convention, go and pick the executive of the political party and take it from there for ready for contest for the next elections. A lot of things has happened over the past few days. We see the PPRC don't get it's like a ruling, right, for make a decision between the APC, waiting to happen now, and we can't talk about all of those things. But you see, Sierra Leoneans, them, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. Delicate today, for we see them. We watch what's happening. So in this 21st century, in front of our eyes, our democracy is being defecated on. Then they pull with democracy for we don't get a brutal rebel war for 10, 11 years. People lost their lives innocently. All of this is why we do what we do. And we thank God today. We have everybody coming on board. The African Express, today they write, Shadow by and in team. Then they write. But now they don't decide for come join we and lend a voice to some of these concerns we don't get over the years. So we appreciate the fight. Like how we can talk again, not of all levy praise now with brother Chenoba, but it's a reality, it's a fact. We always believe for give praise where it's due. When people let it do what they do, it's always nice to say thank you. Chenoba, like I say again, the African Express is like a B-52 bomber. That way can pass over and a quiet young. 30 days they expose these guys to the point where the guy they can't confess back the crimes that they commit. We see all of these things here. But what is happening today in a democracy? When the government, they use people within the opposition as useful tools for destroy a democracy within political parties, to the point where former President Kuruma, unless Kuruma talk for say, Parliament, they're in cahoots with the ruling government for destroying democracy at this particular point in time. It means things are really getting out of hand. And Sierra Leoneans will therefore pay attention to these things. So that is why we can't talk about these issues here. So today, it's a shame, it's a disgrace, but we have to lend light, and we want the people to listen attentively. Learn. A lot of them are still in shock for belief, say, not only Alfred Peter Conte, an agent of the SLPP, but the parliament itself within the leadership structure of the APC party to allow themselves for sell game just because of their own selfish and greedy ambitions. That's how bad it is, to the point where people are still there in shock. People still have for believe yet, but look at all the signs, it's there. From time immemorial, then they kill people, the robbery, the thieving, where they go on at the country. Opposition able for stand up. We see Francis Bankaifala today, don't pull a statement about fake degrees, but today the African Express in publications, them, Parliament not able for deliberate on none of those. The leaders, them, that the opposition, the Cheriko, cause the kind of you us, not able for go to bank, for go check the transaction numbers, them, for can't verify what's in the African Express say. They able for set up a committee up to this point. You know, Salon people, them, there is a lot of things, but we can't deliberate on these issues. I'm going to bring in Comrade quick like tell Fambule Adu, and then we go give Cheno by the floor and ask some questions and take it from there. Go ahead, Comrade Koita.
You know, when they talk, they will not just do things for do sake. For example, let's say with the time we spend on national issues that is past the time we spend for do we own private thing that we do. Imagine people and all, you know, working more so we don't do this morning so many times. You know, whenever we come back and they talk about things, them still don't identify things that we don't talk time and again. They say this particular coup of the APC, not to just have a Peter contest. It needs to plus one tell and say that Peter contest then the real one then day, and the number they begin expose themselves. Ibrahim, you know, before change the inside, as you say, you need to go, you need only the local who say possible for the local side and book for them could start the convention. But you all know, say, not to the first step for that political party and get problem. If APC don't get court cases them between 2002 to 2007, different court cases, but one day will not see courts. They go tell the party say, you go be turn chairman, you go turn this, you go turn this. Except we don't get court case between 2012 to 2017. But they not ever impose people in parliament say no, I go turn chairman. We see people that way they within the parliament, and the parliament not interpret the law. Then they see court Fisher. Maui not qualify for practice law as alone. Ingo impose candidates. They make a stage manager for the whole episode. So you know, Chernobyl, they don't the rights and all news. You don't give me so anything because I ain't been using it for talk about. So they tell us say, not to know what to do this okay. You the rights, you the share, you the listen, you the talk. We all have the same job to do because of for the betterment of democracy. You know, me first you are the little why they can't let to Chernobyl. I want lie you because I want ask a question. If really any court like the world get the right, the mandate for tell political party, would that they go lead them, would that they go to the chairman, would that for next, would that if you get that for make a political party organization, we need to see na court. If any court get right for go choose leaders of any political party.
Yeah. Thank you very much for wanna continue for bring me for participate in this ongoing conversation around the democracy in the country, for full democracy and accountability in our country. We're not going to tire for talk to the people of Saloon. I think it's in a very good way for start the conversation, which is whether a court get the right under the laws of Sierra Leone for appoint the executive of a political party. The answer na big no, and unfortunately, that na what we get right now. The court na Saloon decide for dismantle the executive of a political party, and then appoint 21 people there for take charge of the party without an election, and that in itself na a violation of the court, their own role within the constitution. The court not get our powers there, not get our right there for do that. Okay, the institution we're responsible for supervising, for registering and supervising the role of political parties according to the constitution, and the Political Parties Registration Commission, PPRC, and even the PPRC not get the right for appoint individuals where for manage the affairs of a party. The PPRC's responsibility now for make sure say the political party in question uphold the constitution and all of that. So what we see now, apart from the fact we don't underline say the judge will issue the orders for the dismantling of the APC. Now somebody will not qualify for practice law in a Saloon, but at the same time, you're not supposed to be a judge in the first place. So because of the fact that the judge illegal, the ruling where he also do now a ruling way not comply with the laws of Sierra Leone, where violates the constitutional provisions of the country. And unfortunately, the people that we decide to accept that responsibility for work with the court for overthrow the new party. Now, basically, the members of parliament, and in this case, the leadership of the APC in parliament and parliamentary leader, and Alfred Peter Conte, who is also the head of the other faction. So we get two factions right now, two warlords. One of the warlords, the opposition leader in the parliament. The other warlord, Alfred Peter Conte. These two warlords that constitute the two factions. One faction made up of 8 MPs, in addition to 4 other representatives of the party on one side, and 9 people will include Alfred Peter Conte on the other side. Both groups now then don't create the crisis, now they accept the coup. So basically, the SLPP don't decide for work with these two groups then for overthrow the APC and hijack the party and hand them over to them. The unfortunate part, the MPs were under the leadership of a lawyer and a very experienced parliamentarian where they're supposed to make the lawyer uphold the constitution, then don't accept for make this coup happen because then are the beneficiaries of the coup. So now, since July, conflict will not happen, but since July 25, now these two groups them go to PPRC. What you can then go to PPRC. Now one of the lawyer with on the side of the parliament write a letter to PPRC for talk say the chairman of the committee, the chairman of the 9-man they don't decide for make meeting without get a simple majority. So that simple majority means that because of 21 people then, if they meet 11 people then, but this chairman, Alfred Peter Conte, in your faction, now only 9 people there. The other group where Terry Coco they appoint where the parliamentarian then 12 people there. If I get the number correctly, yes, 12 people there. Yeah. So which means then they in the majority. So if I so they basically then decide say that they complain to the PPRC, and this lawyer will write the letter again. A lawyer will work at the law firm of the parliamentary leader. Alpha Jallo decided to write a letter to complain the chairman say he as the legal person, the chairman don't hold meeting, he don't decide to appoint other people there as executive members, consult the rest of the committee, and in fact, not get the quorum for hold the meeting. That the people who have been need for hold the meeting, the majority of people who have been need for hold the meeting, they're not been there at the meeting. So therefore, any decision we take, the decision not valid. So then go to PPRC talk the case between them. So PPRC now hold meeting on the 1st of August 1, then 6 days ago. Then decide say making them talk between them. Two of the things that we then decide for whole meeting. But PPRC talk say in the first place, then not call the meeting for go interpret the decision of the judge, because according to PPRC, then not get control over the committee because the committee that the court appoints then committee then politicians have to take over their party. So which means they're not under the control of the PPRC. Although PPRC is supposed for regulate the activities of political party and politicians then. So but then decide say because they want to make peace day, they talk the case. And part of the problem again that the fact say as we mentioned, they don't really argue say would I get right for whole meeting and how many people you need for whole meeting. Alfred Peter Conte say in as the chairman get right for whole meeting on your own and take decision. Then they say no, you're not going to take decision without them. So in the argument now, the risk now, one group, especially the group in the parliament, want to pretend say then they serve the party interest, and the Alfred Peter Conte group then they serve the party interest. So what I want to state up front that we all understand, we do not say that both of them two groups there, the 12 people there, we include the parliamentarian them, the 9 people that we don't have Peter Conte, then we are all the illegal committee force. Now a committee will not get no legal rights. They don't get the law not allow them to take over the party through a coup. So we have to understand say then we are a two faction then, two rebel group there that the party will decide to seize the party with the assistance of the court. So the rebellious group then within the APC that they don't hijack the party for themselves now. Now they argue among the two groups who are supposed to get power more than incumbent. So what did PPRC say? PPRC decides, although then talk say, when they talk about what type PPRC don't fail force.
Right.
But the decision we then give after we then look everything and decide, say, okay, I did it straight from the thing. They say, in keeping with our advisory role in this context, aimed at furthering the interest of the party and in line with our perception of the intention of the judge. So then come with two or several points there. One that, according to them, the quorum for all meetings of the committee must not be less than 11 of its members. So then they talk, say, the argument where Alfred Peter Conte and group say, according to the constitution, now 1/3 of the meeting, so 7 people say can meet, and then 21, 7 people are allowed for me, because so the APC constitution talk about quorums. They say no to that. They don't follow the quoting the constitution, so they will follow what the judge say, because according to them, the committee where they talk, so not the committee where the constitution create. So if the committee is not the creation of the party constitution, they will only follow part of the party in constitution where the judge talk about, not follow the other part the way they. So basically, they divide the constitution into half. Only the section judge put in orders, then I never follow. They never follow other part of the, because they are not a creation of the constitution. People talk about on that note alone, what the PPRC has underlined is the fact that the committee, the 21-man committee force, the illegal committee, it is not governed by the constitution of the party. And no law, no is outside of the party constitution.
China, hold on. What's going on? China, hold on. Kashi, mute.
Cannot make rules and
Kashi, mute. Kashi, mute. China, hold on.
For the conduct of the activities, for the conduct and activities of political parties in the first place. So by that statement alone, the PPRC don't underline, which we don't.
Is the sound coming from me? I don't think so.
The illegality and the unconstitutional nature of the arrangement will lead to the establishment and activities of the committee. That's one part. The second point where the PPRC did note now the fact that the underline what we been saying, that the power, the division of the numbers in terms of quorum and majority don't inform we say 11 members are required for a meeting, which means that Alfred Peter Conte and group will get just 9 members. They are unable to meet and take decision without the involvement of the other people. But the other people, because they get 12 members, they can meet at any time and take decisions that are also binding. So in this case, it means when the court was transferring, when the court helped them to make the coup, they equally transfer more power to the 12 members of the committee than the 9 members of the committee, even though both committees are not working in the interest of the party or in the real interest of
Chino, can I stop you quickly? And because with everything we say so, and then like the PPRC, they talk say the intention of the judge, because intention, okay, it's kind of like very subjective, can be interpreted in a different way. You don't feel say this whole thing, and what are the scene like when you analyze about the 9 members and the 12 members, the 12 members can actually make decision and become binding and all that thing. And for me, what are the scene that sets fire, they can set fire the APC, because surely we know too well, like if decisions are made by these 12 people where they form a quorum, then it means they can make a decision because they're saying a simple majority 11 and it gets more than 11. Surely Alfred Peter Conte is not going to sit by. And the intention of the judge, why is it that the intention of the judge is just being left open for people for interpreting in a different way? Can they not go back to this judge and make it tell with the intention rather than the people interpreting this intention?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So in the first place, the party will get the responsibility and the right for challenge not just the verdict of the judge, but also the legitimacy of the judge for sit on the case. That's one. Secondly, the party also get the right for reject the imposition of rules and regulations for the conduct of political activities within the political party that is not in tandem, completely in tandem with the party constitution, because the activities of a political party should be governed wholly, not even partly, wholly, completely by the constitution of that organization. So you're gonna go say the members, like look the statement here, that the quorum for all meetings of the committee must not be less than 11 of its members. This is informed on the fact that His Lordship, in his judgment, was very unequivocal when he stated in paragraph 90, 10 and 6 of the same that all decisions of the committee shall be by a simple majority. It follows, therefore, that a meeting attended by less than 11 members cannot reach a decision of the committee as any such decision will be less than a simple majority of the committee. So this they tell you about dishonesty of the judgment. Apart from this is why illegality is not good, because if the judge, we want to be clear about this, he will have decided what constitutes simple majority, which will have been a collection of members from both sides. But the silence in terms of leaving it open, when say there is an imbalance in the composition of the two factions, one is made up of 12 and one is made up of 9, leaves, like what they say, just to answer your question, yes.
Absolutely.
They create a lacuna that created an open minefield, which in a sense is deliberate, because it speaks to the essence of the coup, and the point where the state in itself is involved in the process by making sure that they can leave an opportunity for an advantage to be taken by whosoever among these two factions that is more working in their own advantage, although both factions are working against their party's interest. But in addition to that,
just before you go further, and like what you really say, so like for create this whole thing, the subjectivity with all this thing is what I'm worried about. And like nobody out there really kind of like say, okay, let me kind of like go back to the judge, let him tell us an intention, because the word intention alone is so subjective. It's subject for many people interpret them their own way. So why can't, because we always build it and say, it therefore end up back to the judge. Why can't we go back to the judge and let him interpret or tell me intention if this thing not gets planned? I mean, legislation is coming, elections are coming. This political party not even get leader aid. So why are we leaving things just like this in the open?
And this is what I think you are speaking to. What would be the ideal solution? When you interview all of the leading cadre of the APC and their intermediate membership and all of, because of the division at the party and the dishonesty that has clouded all of these selfish interests, then we tell you, say, no, we not be one going to court again for make we not delay, because that is like blackmailing the party into accepting the coup, normalizing the coup, because they are pretending that one of the factions good, the other faction is bad, whereas all of these two groups, they are pursuing their own selfish interest, selfish flag bearer interest. But look at here. The judge, the PPRC talks, say any interpretation to the contrary, that is in our opinion, is self-serving and a recipe for disagreement amongst the committee members. Basically, they are saying here that Alfred Peter Conte's 9-man committee cannot meet, cannot take a decision, but any other group that has 11 members can do so. This is not to say one is better than the other. They are all dissidents of the party. They are all rebel groups in this case. But the most significant part is the second point, which reads, also, we are of the considered opinion that the committee cannot pray to provisions of the party's constitution in justification of any of its acts, save those provisions expressly mentioned in His Lordship judgment. This is because the committee are not a creation of the constitution. Therefore, invoking provisions of the party's constitution to constitute a quorum is, with the utmost respect, untenable. The committee is not an organ of the party, provided for in its extant constitution, and its mandate is defined in the judgment that is an offshoot that it is an offshoot of. So here, exactly, the PPRC self don't contradict itself. How the PPRC will talk, say, the committees, their own meeting, forbid just by simple majority when there's an imbalance in the composition of the committee in the first place. And then the PPRC is saying the committee can also not follow the party constitution that conditions how meetings of the party are held, but they should only comply with the decision of the court, which is in itself is not only ambiguous but is disingenuous. So if and further that the committee is not a creation, it's not an organ of the party. So if the committee is not an organ of the party, then it means the committee has no legal basis to manage the affairs of the party, because a foreign entity that is not the creation of the party's constitution, that is not created by the party's law, and that is not governed completely or wholly by the party's constitution in itself, is a committee that is governed by decree, by foreign law. In this case, the rules and dictates of a judge who is, by the way, an illegal judge. So this self-contradiction in the PPRC judgment don't expose a number of things. One, he exposed the collaboration between Parliament, the PPRC, the courts, and the ruling party for dismantle the opposition and take over the opposition and make them plunge them into a crisis leading up to the election, so they will not be able to have actual candidates and actual mobilization, actual preparation ahead of the election. This is all part of Madabio's second term. But the most dangerous part of the PPRC's statement is the third point, which states that all bodies constituted by the committee should, in the interest of cohesion and peace, reflect its membership ratio and or spread. This is with a view to capturing the judge's intention of letting both sides of the divide participate in running the affairs of the party till its organs are properly constituted. Anything short of this will only widen the divide and plunge the party into more undue hardship. So here we note one key point, which is the fact that the PPRC knows the court in judgment make complete demarcation between the two groups. This is not exactly. This is not one committee. That there is already a divide between the committee. But we have to understand again, the divide is an uneven divide that is created by the court. The court puts 12 people on one side, 9 people on the other side, and set them against each other so that they will begin the fight over would I get more power, would I not get more power, would I get more right for whole meeting, would I get right for whole decision. So you get the chairman, we say in get power, the Secretary General and young group led in the shadows parliamentary leader, they say that they get group. So what they do now, the same way they can go the party in a court, because now we don't talk say the court, the judge illegal, then they go to the PPRC, make PPRC add more fire on the whole thing. And this is what the court did by saying, we therefore, for instance, suggest the following composition of the 25-man transitional interim independent electoral management committee. Remember, we don't talk like I say, the federal in the Fed so each one of them group want to make sure that they will control the conventions because they need that for determine whether they go in at the lower executives, taken at the upper executives, so that when they come to flag bearer, each one of this group go down prepare the young people prepare the party structures in a way that the young choice of flag bearer then go emerge. And this is happening in the context of the same court case where they already get a presumptive flag bearer, where they all want for slump down, into the ditch so that they go serve. And it says here, see the division again. The Alpha Peter Conte component of the committee should have 10 members of the 10 members of the transitional interim independent electoral management committee, and the party component. This one they hide that now. They're not talking parliamentary wingo because they also don't talk to the parliamentary leader, and they hide behind the host. So now they say that the party, when this 12-man faction, they are not representing. None of these groups are representing the party really. They're all anti-party.
Let me draw attention on the first audio we talk about opposition inside opposition.
Yeah,
within the APC, we get 3 types of opposition. You just draw my attention to the PPRC conniving to try for justify. We then they go talk and say a constitution we don't go to PPRC no and don't gazette them. They don't become law na APC for use. For like the PPRC go talk say this committee not for work with in line with the constitution. That tell you now say that you not tell Peter Conte that we in the impose, because why impose membership them we will not go through convention, will not say that convention only they bring somebody where party don't expel or possibly don't go. That they want try for legitimize and now say everything in do technically they want get right. So just like we say, both of them groups here are not working in the interest of the majority. They all get to the work court, because by bringing this to this show, we say the PPRC say they're not work in accordance with the party. So we all respect. Now all thing over follow. That don't take with also even talk say opposition inside opposition. That three type of opposition. People will be say if you know to the young candidates, the party not for win. Then people will be say don't already identify people for that and for can eliminate the race, because Madam you know say if you go there play for the race, then they eliminate her. So you don't put that set a team for can eliminate them. Do you really lament on that particular thing?
Yeah, so look now, I'm not just saying I see the problem back where the PPRC had. While the court divide the group into two parts, the committee into two parts, and give them 12 people there, and give them the power for a whole simple majority meeting, and put their wire at 9 so that they go to Fed. Now the PPRC instead of say the committee, the transition election committee, basically the committee way for manage the small election then now for convention, this and that, all lower level to upper level convention for be 25 people. You see inside the 25 people there, the Alpha Peter Conte group forget 10, and then the MP then, their own group, the parliamentarians, their own group for be 14 members. You don't understand, eh? And their 40 members, they have for be eight MPs there, 2 from the women's wing, 2 from the youth, them, and 2 from the diaspora. So you find out, say, then so in for organized election back, the same group will get majority by the court. Now the PPRC forget the majority again for decide how the lower level elections for organize. And this is very important because then and the PPRC pretends this larger group from parliament that they represent the interest of the party. And we are saying, as we've said, and we don't see this from the 20th of June, we will begin expose MP them regarding the public elections bill and one pass this law secretly for help Mother Bio for exclude voter there. Say the part of the main problem of the party, they have to investigate the conduct and activities of the parliamentary wing of the party, including its leadership. And not only that the crisis within the party, especially this committee, has to be seen not only on the perspective, say, Alfred Peter Conte and young gang of 9 people, they're not the only problem. These groups are all part of the problem of the party. And they not only they try for scatter the party, then decide for also collaborate with the state, with the regime in power, by using state institutions, both the court and the PPRC, we don't serve the interest of democratic organizations, including political parties in the country, for decide who therefore head the political party there. How the convention, this is the situation where the court and PPRC, where the government represent for decide who them for manage the convention there. Now they don't appoint an illegal committee for take over a political party. They also appoint again another committee where for they in charge of deciding how the conventions then will happen. What I need to tell you, it is the state, the regime, they use opposition politicians them divided into these two factions, both from parliament and outside of parliament, for regulate how the APC as an opposition party for run their own affairs outside of the new party constitution. And now they say this is illegal because things say PPRC and the court, then they take this decision. And these decisions, we must underline, violate both the PPRC Act, where the law will govern the conduct of political parties, and also it undermine the role of the judiciary, because it is not the business of the court for run political parties, for supervise and dictate how political party activities are to be conducted. Yeah, you're right. This speaks to the question of the 2023 elections, and what we don't talk say part of Mother Building strategy. Now for decide for the opposition who that would be the presidential candidate, and the presidential candidate will go down compromise will be say elect the election. This presidential candidate will allow him to make it get second term with the understanding say the person after the person will take over, because they don't think say the country now two term where SLPP can they do 2 term, they arrange after me and you. So now that this is what you're looking at. It's not different from what we tell them. The fact who expose the MP in a parliament, that fact they don't come right into the party. And remember, say the election bill the drama around the election bill done the 27th, 28th of July. This fatwa starts so, then start on the 25th. The complaint to PPRC, Alpha Jallo, who is the legal representative, was appointed. By the way, he is part of the law firm of the parliamentary leader. Now he complained this letter. So they all now then trigger this action. Say make PPRC intervene. So if the other faction of the group can go to PPRC, I think it is high time that the party leaders, both the elders and ordinary members of the party, for go back in a court and ask the court, say, Fisher, who is an illegal judge, in verdict is nothing but chaos for the opposition. And it's very important for people to pay attention to this, because we cannot have one party in power. What we have right now, we have no opposition political party. The opposition political party that you have is a party that is led by an illegal committee. And PPRC way for manage the conduct and activity of political parties, they say they not get the right for supervise this political party, because the court not put this committee under their control. So therefore, then they're not spectators anymore. Then go only talk this talk away and talk so, because Alpha Jallo, we are the legal representative of this illegal committee, by the way, who is part of the law firm of the parliamentary leader, he go complain to them, invite them for enter. So now when they decide now, they don't decide, say, the party not for following constitution, they for only follow part of the constitution where the judge talk about. By the way, the judge, we don't talk, say, he's not supposed to practice law as alone, by extension, an illegal judge. So the PPR statement just confirm it. And this is very important. You have to go back to court, not to the same judge, to the court, court, for set aside this ruling. It is never late. It is more important to do that than to say we'll not get time, election, because this fatwa don't start so. It will continue into the convention, because when them two groups here, each one begin to talk, saying that the young people that are at the lower level, the Fed don't start so. Because the Fed will begin from the constituency, from the ward executive, then to the constituency, to the district, to the region. By the time the international convention, a big war and killing. Because where somebody talks, say, because now you go see each group go on for the side, say, go begin the give membership, go begin add people and at the delegate list where supposed to do. Both groups now get the legitimacy and the moral basis for even attempt, say, that they represent the interests of APC voters. And each one of them group here, they try for insight to make, let's say, they are very genuine. If they are genuine, they cannot accept the illegal ruling of a judge for dismantle. And the same illegal judge now also they preside over the fake case of the former APC 2018 APC flag bearer, where all man they say that a threat to APC and threat to even some of these flag bearers, hidden and known flag bearers within the party. The same illegal judge, Fisher. Now the same individual again been doing a Paulo Conte in treason trial. A treason trial where everybody they end up with being unable to even convict. Fake treason trial. You know that. Wrongful imprisonment of an opposition politician. Then the same individual moved from a state prosecutor to a judge dismantling a political party. The same individual becoming a judge over a fake case that has to do with $4.6 million where they don't thief, Madabiwe and young people and thief, transfer and New York for renovate an embassy, then thief the money, then take the case back, him and an opposition politician. The same illegal judge, the same individual from the prosecution, the wrongful prosecution of Paulo Conte and the wrongful imprisonment, to the illegal dismantling and illegal appointment of a caretaker executive comprising members of parliament selected and appointed by the court with the endorsement of the parliamentary opposition leader. And now the same judge again presiding over a case that is a wrongful case that is deciding the right or that is attempting to take away the right to political participation of a leading politician in the country, member of the opposition, and everybody in the opposition and outside of the opposition is looking at this chain of injustice committed by somebody who has no business. You see? So these kind of questions, it goes beyond just the party. It speaks to what we
So Chino, is this
illegality? It speaks to a question of
the issue in Sierra Leone. Is it
and lawlessness?
So the issue in Sierra Leone. Sorry, Chino. The issue in Sierra Leone, the suffering of the people. I know, say we get boku side in for blame. We can blame the parliament. But, seeing all these things, like, the opposition don't become paralyzed, you don't feel say the judiciary, they play serious role in the downfall of Sierra Leone, like the hardship that's alone? Because with everything that you're saying here, my blame seems for the go towards the judiciary. Because, of course, the parliament is, useless. It don't get no use. But I can see that the judiciary now in a play because, opposition is there for a reason, for old government accountable. Like what I can always they say, what we can say, parliamentarians them get oversight budget. When they give them, when they allocate, so they can do their work properly, go and kind of like oversee like ministries them, but they're not allowed to do this. And the reason why, because the opposition isn't functioning, and because the judiciary don't penetrate into the opposition and don't render them powerless.
Yeah, we will say the judiciary, make we underline say the judiciary is made up of judges who are appointed by the president. The president, they represent the interest and dictate of the president. The judge in question is a judge that is hired as a mercenary to carry out the surgical destruction of opposition and multi-party politics and democracy in a saloon. We can establish that upfront. And the same, we should initiate a campaign calling on the people of Sierra Leone, both within the country and outside of the country, and friends of Sierra Leone for help, for impress upon the government of Sierra Leone and the institutions therein, including the judiciary, the same way we did with Parliament, for making them respect the Constitution, respect the human rights of Sierra Leoneans, whether these Sierra Leoneans belong to opposition parties or they belong to ruling parties. Every Sierra Leonean is guaranteed protection under the law, under the Constitution. And the judiciary should not be an instrument in the service of the state in its effort to destroy multi-party politics. But I think this don't happen as alone because of the complicity of these opposition politicians from Parliament and outside of Parliament who for their own selfish political ambitions, are willing to destroy not just their own political parties, but to put the entire future of the country at stake because of their own ambitions. And by extension, they have collaborated and now connived with the institutions of the state and the regime in particular for undertake activities with enhanced lawlessness and violation of the Constitution. The same thing we see in our Parliament, where we say, about to go for Bokul parliamentarian and bring them to the street, say, this trip here, they sell the country, they sell that before we're able for do. This is what they've done with the courts. And we have to take this thing serious because what we are trying to emphasize is the fact that we need to get clean elections, free and fair democratic elections that include that no institution, legal or otherwise, should be used to exclude the Sierra Leonean from voting or exclude the Sierra Leonean from participation in the elections, either as a candidate or a voter. And that is what this court process is about. This is what parliamentarians in the opposition and outside of the opposition are helping the government to do. They try to pass a law in parliament that will exclude Sierra Leoneans from easily voting by including provisions like the NIN that will have prevented people from registering and easily voting. Now they are using the court system. They've used the court system to hijack their own political party to make sure that they also program activities in their party that puts them in an advantage that will also disqualify other candidates or politicians within the opposition from being able to participate not just in their internal party politics but in the national elections. And we got to stop that. We don't talk as in two basic strategies Madabio is using ahead of the election for rigged election: voter suppression and candidate exclusion. And what you see from Parliament and the court and PPRC and the drama in the opposition, the All People's Congress, is a reflection of that tendency to exclude other candidates from participating, not just within the party politics, but also at the national election. And these are candidates that the government think are likely to defeat Madabio in an open and fair contest. So Madabio is trying to have a candidate of his own choice to be the presidential candidate of the opposition, somebody who he has compromised that he will pay and then say, wait, make me do second term, like he rig the election, this individual will wait for 2028, say, I will left you in power. When my own time done, two terms. And we have to stop that. There is no law in the constitution that says anybody that comes to power, you can forget 2 terms straight. You say 1 year, 1 5-year term. After that, you organize free and fair elections. If people elect you, vote for you again. So the same way when I see the public elections bill that was meant to prevent people from voting, now the same way this court and PPRC decision, the Alpha Jalos letter, the Alfred Conte in random appointments and illegal reinstatement of people who have resigned and are trying to come back from the party, and the PPRC statement, the court ruling, all of these are part of the operation of the state. It is geared towards narrowing the political landscape in Sierra Leone for help Madabio for get second term. And why are we concerned about that? We've been exposing the corruption of the Bio regime. We have shown how Madabio they loot money, including very recently, how did they transfer money go to England, where doctors are not get salary, nurses are not get salary, professors are not get salary, soldiers, police officers are not paid salaries. Then they just loot money, go out of the country. He knows say if he lost power, 2023, he's going to be held responsible because the evidence day. So he willing now for buy everybody in the opposition, negotiate with them, say, do you allow me make a day for 5 years? Why come on now? And Timuna me party then, secret party then. So we are thief, this thief, the thief, and I'm not going to take power again when I continue my own thief. This is all part of the corruption. There's a relationship between financial corruption. We got any leader with the thief money, he try for thief election. And one way for thief the election for Madabio, you don't go to thief the election to opposition or helper. The opposition will only able for helper if you get a compromise candidate as presidential candidate for the opposition. That is what they are working on. The court, the PPRC, the parliament, they are all part of the institutions that have been captured by the state and that they can use in assistance with these opposition politicians, the one that thinks that they represent from parliament and outside parliament. We don't accept the coup and become beneficiaries of the coup for take over their party. Now they try for do so. So ordinary members of the party, who now we get on a party, we want to support the party, whether old or young, we want to try for come together. One easy solution. These two group them, whether na Alfred Peter Content group now, now the MP then group led by una parliamentary leader, this group should be asked to step aside. They not so they are the only people who are party members there. The party members can appoint their own people of integrity. They can find them and decide for manage their affairs. The party can resolve. The party has gone through crisis. Even SLPP will get the same crisis. APC had gone through crisis as Comrade Koita said earlier, 2002 right up to 2007. But they never had a situation where the court dismantled the entire executive and appoint people and say, yeah, will not be caretakers. So this caretaker committee that is arguing over would I get power, would I for me, would I not for me, therefore be ashamed of themselves. How can you accept a coup? How can you be the legitimate coup leaders of your party? They are the same court also remove APC MP them from parliament and appoint SLPP MP them. The same court again, they go dismantle a party and appoint now. They argue say, we not get power for me, we this one not get power, now for get 14 members, this for get 10 members. Which politicians are these? So they want for ordinary members should turn up in their party and demand that these people are all for common. They have the right to do that. If we take that decision, they no court no go stop una because the court can only act in the interest of the party. And these 21 people, not to them get on a party. The other people who hide in a corner where they support them, not to them get the party no more. The party is made up of thousands of members and supporters who are contributing money, including donations.
We're talking about millions.
So you cannot leave this party organization of over 60 years in the hands of these 21 individuals who are acting on behalf of the state. You can chase them out of your party if they begin to argue. I mean, a lawyer representing a law firm that is part of the parliamentary leadership, then they go report to PPRC for say the PPRC for help them for enforce the decision of an illegal court. I mean, that's shameful. And these individuals want to say that they act on behalf of the party. You are not acting on behalf of the party. So it's high time party members, whether they are old members or new members or young members, una for grab, una tell them 21 people here, and the one the way they be end say, not that they no more get the party, una get the right for also go to court and tell the court say, fish a common. I don't think you want one other judge who independent, who they choose and decide which court for look at like Dande. Or I tell the people there, not a court no more will decide that I get this party here. Because now the court don't do. The court say then 21 people here and they get right for own party. Now they argue would that party supposed for whole meeting, would I not supposed for whole meeting, would I supposed for write letter, would I not supposed for write letter, would I letter correct, would I letter not correct? I mean, how can these 21 people hold a party of thousands of members and supporters hostage? They are selfish. Both groups.
Absolutely.
The group of peace and the group made up of Peter Conte are selfish individuals.
It's terrible. It's terrible,
support them or openly or secretly. They're dangerous individuals. Because if they want power, they can come forward and compete in an open way.
Simple.
There are ways to democratize a political party without hiding in the shadows, scheming, hijacking, plotting. I mean, this is dangerous politics. If that kind of politician being at the national level as presidents or if a government, a cabinet, not destruction for the country. We will get worse government.
Yeah, they go set people against each other.
Because they have no regard for law. They have no regard for the constitution. They want to rule their political party without a constitution. It's shameful. It's shameful. Political Parties Registration Commission to say that a group of people who are not the product of a party organization, of a party organ, and who are not the creation of a party constitution should manage the affairs of a party, and they have the right to do that without complying with the totality of the content of their party constitution. They can only comply to the dictates of a court and only make reference to those parts of the party constitution cited by the court. I mean, how can you divide a party constitution in half? Conduct an activity. That's built in a house.
Yeah.
We don't get a house. You say, no, you don't sleep inside the house. So now the veranda, come up and the veranda, and I never sleep. Which kind of madness that?
It's ridiculous.
So we've got a situation where dishonesty reigns. Because Madabio is so desperate to steal the election that he's willing to do anything, including riding over everybody and all the institutions. We face a danger. And it's high time you tell your parliamentary leader he has to come out and stand and show the people whether he is for the party or outside of the party. So this discussion that I have declared, I don't fight in a parliament, is really not the question. The question is, how can you accept the illegal decision of an incompetent, unqualified judge who is a mercenary, who was hired as a prosecutor wrongly for prosecute an opposition, young opposition comrade and jail him wrongfully, then the same one also move from becoming a prosecutor to a judge and dismantle the party, take that party and hand them over to you with a majority share. Then now the same person again, when I come on, I go to PPRC, make PPRC interpret that illegal decision and give you back more majority for constitute an election committee that should carry out the business of reconstituting the party. Is that not shameful for you as a politician? I mean, or not only that, the same judge is now imposed on a case, wrongful case, against a politician who you were who both of you were selected, by the way, to head the party into the last elections. If the party had won, both of you would be president and vice president. Now your government would be challenged right now. So which means if you were elected in 2018, we don't get a situation worse than Madabio now. Yeah, because that's what you're saying. If you cannot live up to the constitution and uphold legality and the constitution, and you can scheme or accept a coup organized by the court, then what kind of president or vice president will you have been in a situation where you will have been elected in 2018?
It would have been a very conniving vice president, pinning people against each other.
So really, it's high time the party begins to look beyond.
So, Cheno, to that point, let's talk about this, because
beyond the flag bearers and people.
Right.
Why we are concerned about it? We're concerned about it because if this is working in the interest of Madabio, it's not working in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone. It's not working in the interest because when we do not have opposition politicians, opposition political parties, what vehicle are people going to use if they are dissatisfied with the existing administration? We know we who have been independently rejecting these two organizations, we know that there is no other choice for the people of Sierra Leone. But we are saying the political landscape should be free of this contaminated politics, this scheming and betrayal, politics of betrayal. open up the political landscape, give the people the opportunity to choose who they want to choose. If Madabi is the best president, best candidate among the politicians who are there, let them choose him. Then we know he is the result of the people's choice. But you cannot connive and destroy and narrow and exclude other politicians because you fear their participation in a contest. You cannot do that, because when you do that, you are not affecting that individual, you are affecting the choices of multiple people. So the same way we will try to prevent ordinary people from voting by trying to smuggle that election law, this is why we are also saying we cannot sit by and allow you to be part of the state in coup for overthrow democratic organizations or institutions in the country, where for provide the people the avenue for exercise their constitutional right to association, their right to vote. All these two things are related. There's no difference between the court removal of APC MPs from parliament and the appointment of SLPP supporters into parliament with the court's removal of the standing executive of the APC and the appointment of you, the two factions, as caretakers of your party. If you are dissatisfied with the removal, if you are truly dissatisfied with the removal of your colleagues from parliament, you cannot be satisfied with the handing over of the party in your hands. That's one point. The second point, you cannot go to the PPRC to interpret and enforce the decision, the intentional decision of a judge who is not even qualified to practice law in the country. If you do that, you are basically saying you agree with the prosecution of your other party comrade. For in this case, you agree with the decision, the wrongful imprisonment of other politicians in prison at the time. You are also saying you agree that this judge is competent enough to use the court to exclude your other party comrade from being able to participate through wrongful accusation. These are all wrongful things.
Cheno, you've made a lot of points. Let me say this, and again, coming to which you even talk about, something just came in mind with the Alfred Paolo Conte, case. Never one time did we hear the opposition leader, Cheno Majuba of the APC party, as a lawyer, come out and lend a voice to that particular matter. They publicly, then go tell you, say, we're going to CID, if they go for a Paremba Road, all of that kind of stuff. But that just goes how deep this whole thing is. Because in these parts of the world warfare we have, so in these advanced democracies, definitely that would not go there. But I don't want to change the subject because that's off, right? But these are just for something for people to think about. Think about it again. Delicately, Alfred Paolo Conte would have lost his life. And the leader of the opposition in APC in parliament, there is no video, no audio. We will come and say a defender and try for say, you know what, we have to ensure say we protect this man. Any statement in any other, we all know.
Ibrahim, say the excuse we then get in parliament don't supersede the right or the constitution. In other words, the parliamentary procedures.
Right.
They will tell you, say, parliament not allow for talk about something where it in a court. But can you guys not change the law whilst you're in parliament?
Kashi, they don't need to change the law. Kashi, they don't need to change the law. You can lend a voice on any issue. You don't have to talk about the I get your point, Kashi, but they don't have to change no laws. Kashi, it happens every day when Donald Trump they impeach her. People in the cabin can talk about the impeachment. Nancy Pelosi didn't talk about the impeachment.
They will tell you say the law in America is different from the one in Salon.
No.
What it's guy for make is if when I feel say it is wrong, it kind of like they make sure they squeeze on a corner. Why you guys not propose and say no? We need to go and talk. We need to talk for sway the judge or the magistrate in decision or in judgment. But we suppose for talk about certain things. That the judge, we discussion or whatever. Not supposed for kind of like skew the objectivity of any judge or magistrate.
Absolutely.
But the point is right for me. Every time these guys didn't go with laws, them even law they within the constitution, where entrench laws them, where require 2/3 or require a referendum and all that, then they take up the parliament for go change up. But the things them where they say parliamentary procedures, where they suppress them, don't for talk about Camarima, don't for talk about LAJ, whilst they fictitiously they put case on them.
Absolutely.
The thing that when they stop them from saying these things, then when I say the law or whatever the parliament, you don't allow. Why can't you propose for change?
Absolutely. Look at Kamaremba in case. There is no one time where anybody in the opposition not see say this man in democratic rights has been violated, in civil liberties have been violated. But again, I know I'm going to Randy, right? Chenoba, talk to me about, you make a very important point. You said the people of the APC will get the party, therefore stand up for taking the political party. How are they going to do it?
I would recommend three things, because we'll talk about party members. They include old and new and middle ranking people. All of these people get stakes in the party, including the party supporters. They have to demand that these two factions who are now arguing over...
I get your point, right? I get your point. Yeah. How do we get these people to rally themselves around?
In the first place, we just going to recommend that. But it's the most important action that I think Sierra Leoneans need to take, including friends of Sierra Leone we have to encourage, is to begin to expose the lack of legitimacy of Fisher to serve, to continuously serve as a mercenary in the judiciary of Sierra Leone. So we have to expose that to the international community and to Sierra Leoneans within and outside of Sierra Leone. That is a campaign we must initiate now by letter writing campaigns, by telephone calls. In fact, from beginning now tomorrow, we begin share the same way that we did with the speaker, the telephone number of Fisher, in email, and ask the world, democratic organizations all over the world, for ask Fisher and the Chief Justice of Sierra Leone for remove immediately the Fisher from the judiciary of Sierra Leone. We understand that they are arguing that Fisher is not a judge, a standing judge, but is a contract judge. So you cannot contract an unqualified individual to serve somebody who is not qualified or who is not permissible by the laws of Sierra Leone to practice law in Sierra Leone, whether he has served that before.
I'm trying now. Why make the whole take like somebody who now unqualified doctor, because that contract go look at go do operation for you.
Yeah, because they know say the man a mercenary job they do. That's why they have to find somebody else, put him on a contract for me, finish for duty, then cut him loose. So we have to demand key things. One, the circumstances under which the Chief Justice and the Judiciary of Sierra Leone contract Adrian Fisher for serve in the capacities that he has served. Two, we need to examine all of the decisions and actions and activities of Fisher since he was contracted under the Madabio administration, and how much of his actions they don't contribute to the erosion of democratic values, the violation of human rights, including his role in the wrongful imprisonment of Paulo Conte. We have to begin by that. The most important thing, we have to also ask the judiciary for disclose the amount of money that has been taxpayers' money, public money that has been spent in the upkeep and maintenance of this mercenary individual in the judiciary of Sierra Leone, who has caused so much harm to the human rights of Sierra Leonean citizens, to the destruction of our democracy, to the injury that he has caused to democratic institutions. So we will begin that from now to Monday by appealing to. I'm going to launch an appeal and hoping that each one of you will also do this collectively and call on Sierra Leoneans and friends of Sierra Leone in the international community for help for sanitize with judiciary. The British, the Americans, and all of it from 2002 to now have spent so much money on the law enforcement institutions trying to develop best practices, trying to upgrade the knowledge of we judges for bring the practice of law, the dispensation of justice to international standards. We have no business hiring a mercenary to destroy the democratic credentials of our country or the dispensation of justice. And that is what Fisher has been used to do, to abuse the rights of Sierra Leoneans, to abuse the constitution, to destroy democratic institutions. It's high time we as Sierra Leoneans, independent of professional roles, whether we are journalists, we are lawyers, we are engineers, we are other service professionals, we need to come together now for rescue we country from this continuous use of state institutions for destroy we country. If we not take them action, we depend on these scheming and thieving politicians. They will continue to destroy our country. And this is very serious point we need for the echo. I know I don't do a lot of work in terms of drawing the public attention, because I listen to them all the time. You do a lot of work, unimaginable work that you are not paid for. People in the way they pay for that work day, for do continuous civic education. You have a National Council for so-called civic education. It is spending money all over the place, not doing that. You have parliamentarians who should be holding constituency clinics for talk about some of these issues. They don't do it, and they're receiving money for that. You get all these people. The judiciary should even be educating people, public education campaigns to tell people about the Constitution, their rights, their access to justice, access to bail conditions. The police should be doing that, should be doing public outreach. But instead, the police now make video there and threaten people there. It is high time we begin to take action, civic, polite action, civilized action, letter writing campaign, writing to international organizations, to international governments, asking them to make as a condition of their engagement with Sierra Leone the respect of the national constitution of Sierra Leone, the respect of international law, the respect of the human rights and dignity of Sierra Leoneans. That is something we have to be doing now, in addition to our professional engagement, whether we are lawyers, journalists, or other kinds of professional activities that we are engaged in. I think we get to move now from just talking about these issues to showing the people what they have to do. Just like we did with Parliament. We can do the same thing with the judiciary until we begin hold the Chief Justice to task and in judges then to task, including this mercenary judge.
The Chief Justice never fed for land at Belia Park. You don't get time
and I'm calling on you and appealing to a platform. Please, let us make this campaign and also asking every Sierra Leonean who is listening to us or who will be listening to us to also participate in this effort.
Absolutely.
When I see the effort to how we able to stop Parliament for pass that dangerous law, we can also make sure to Fisher and emboss the way higher up, including Mother Bill. We are going to share their phone numbers and their emails, asking not just Sierra Leoneans, but friends of Sierra Leone to write them polite letters reminding them of their oath and their commitment to the Constitution, and say they have an obligation to respect the Constitution. And in the case of Fisher, we have questions we have to ask our citizens. How did the judiciary hire that mercenary in the court?
I want to be strategic with this conversation, right? I want to be very strategic, right? So let us say people and grab now for, we are going to take over with people and grab, so we can take over with APC party. Yes, there's a standstill at the country. People have across all the districts and come. They say, it's in APC party office. They reach there and say, yeah, we should there, so they take over this party office until we get it. No. I'm saying what people they think now, right? Because what other people thinking? I'll say if in case we all come together, 2 million, 1 million of us, we say we party, we want them back. Who doesn't get for hand over this party too? Who doesn't people have to identify as leaders there?
Make I tell you, the party don't go through crisis before. Every political organization, they go through storms. The SLPP had their own stormy situation, but because there was not this kind of complicity with the politicians when they fight for control with the state, it will not get done. The parties can resolve their internal crisis. If the state, the regime, not use the institution for disable them, what we are seeing is the state making it impossible for the APC to come together. You even hear about peace talks. Anybody who talk about peace now, then they call him mama. The APC, from which you hear. You don't understand. So basically, people within these factions, not even one made them talk about peace, because the disorganization of the party is serving their own ambition, is also helping the government in power. So these people have, if the moment they are removed and put aside, you go find out, say, peace will come. So people do not need to fight all of this. They can make demands. I believe there are structures within the party. There are still genuine people within the party who want to have progress, but they've been prevented from doing that because these warring factions, these warlords who have taken the party to court and have divided the party into two halves. One held by Parliament, one held by people outside of Parliament, coming together and arguing which of the two halves, the more better half than the other.
Right.
So they are the problem. They are, whether they accept it or not, they are the problem. They have to step aside. They have to be dissolved. Party members can inform their elders, can inform their trusted people within communities to ask.
But I think Ibrahim, they asked a crucial question as to how these people would take their party back. Because when you look at the structure of like the APC, whether going to court is not going to resolve this matter. Okay, maybe like what you don't suggest. So, sharing their numbers with friends of Sierra Leone, maybe that could force them to do the right thing. But for me, I cannot see, I do not trust our judiciary. So how would the people, and I believe like one of the things, like now this sensitization where we embark on, because when people understand the constitution, they know their rights, they know what in for do. However, like what do you feel say, you know, I don't know if I get it right. But surely what drives these people to come out? You know, because maybe it's a thing you go see and say, oh, well, one of the thing will be a motivating back factor. Now, the way whether they see the erosion of the party and all incidentally. But is that good enough? Because they've seen it for 4 years. They haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So what's it really go support them up?
That's what we're talking about. We just remind everybody who is a party member, because I'm not a member of the party, so I don't know the exact party structures, but I believe that these 21 people and their hidden leaders should not be allowed to hold the party hostage. I also believe there are still people within the party, from elders to middle-ranking people to even grassroots community people, who are with the required trust to superintend, because most of them people are with the struggle. So from parliamentarians to some of them also have their mentors. These are people who look at all. These are people who are brought to the party by the very so-called old guards they are fighting against.
Exactly.
Okay? They will ordinarily not come out and fight. These are the same people who we saw in 2013 at the Miata Conference Hall, who said they are endorsing their former chairman and leader who they have overthrown, to continue as chairman and leader. These are the same people who went to Putloko and other places and said they are endorsing their former chairman and leader who they have used the court to overthrow as chairman for life. So I am saying, and they've been able to hide their operation within the party, their connection with the state, because they still pretend that they are loyal to their old guards when they are still scheming. So there is a way they can be reined in. They can be reined in. That is a problem for the party to resolve.
You know, Chero, this I think is,
also,
I think,
these are some things. I know you're asking me a question. I would readily have an answer to that kind of question if I was a party member, but I'm not, unfortunately.
And I understand.
I am saying that the solution is not impossible.
It is not.
Very possible.
It is not.
The possibility of the solution right in front of them. They kind of say the solution did at their hand, it is right at their gate. And part of the solution includes first and foremost the dissolution of these two rebel groups, two rebel factions.
Absolutely. This is what I think, Chero. Let me tell you what I think. I think the people of the party, should take over the party back and hand them over to the whole executive, and then the executive take them to a convention and then pick the set of leaders them where the people they feel say they want for the political party.
The court cannot impose its own will on the party.
Exactly.
The court or no other institution cannot impose because its own will. Where Parliament we want to impose that dangerous law that we hate as we say no. We challenge them, say, they happen. The APC MPs, the opposition MPs, they've been done ready for doing. Possible forced them, they begin to holler all over the place now. Now they take credit for that.
Exactly.
So they can also be forced to do right for their party, because we want all the parties them for able to participate in the election.
Exactly.
In a free way, will win. Anybody win now, we able to hold them back accountable to you.
Thank you.
To your promise.
Thank you. And this is
what we want.
Yes, and this is my thinking, right? This is my thinking. This is why I'm giving this solution again, because waiting make these guys this faction go to court first of all. Now for them to go amend the constitution of the APC, say they want to take away selection clause. They don't want no selection.
Exactly.
Right now. That was the end of the matter. Then get a new constitution. The party should have moved on, which means the executive with the people and be elect should have taken the party to a convention. Would I believe in self? They go contest. But no, they don't do them. So I think, the people of the APC party, if they're going to stand up to take up the party, we are strongly believe they will take up and take this party back, because the Fisher ruling should be dissolved completely. Fisher ruling is unlawful, it's illegal, it's not legal to practice law and everything. The people stand up back and say, we're going to give a party back to the old executive because of the dysfunctionality of this current 21-man committee. We they give a party back. We don't get much time because elections are coming. The people of the APC should say we're going to give a party back to the old executive, so that the old executive we already control the party, because this is the thing where we got for pay attention to too. Now, like when I get a guy that the padlock, but the key there to them power them. Let this old executive take we to a convention. Then we get a new elections and pick with people who want for represent within this political party. I think say that should be the solution to the problem of the APC wala.
The funny thing, when you talk about that, it just remind me something. The funny thing with these people, then they say they're opposed to selection and election, even though they agree with that. But when they say so, then go accept now the appointment and selection and appointment from the court. But not only that, they were opposed to their old executive, but most of them now, whether they palm the McKinney didn't go.
Thank you.
You don't understand.
Thank you.
So they still have the influence of the old guard on their shoulders openly, but then on the ground they are pretending they are also trying to institutionalize changes or reforms or democracy or what kind of thing you are calling it now, which is nothing but the use of the state to impose.
Ibrahim.
So,
right.
When you look at the country, they say their executive they are be illegal, right? That's what they say. The very person when they go give for make it head, like the leader of the house, where they head the 12-man committee, was selected or elected by this illegal executive. All the 8 MPs that were represented by this 12-man committee, they were selected or elected by or the pioneer the election or selection of these people. So if the old executive, for me, anything were illegal, for instance, like when we talk about Fisher now, any ruling where Fisher pass, when like a new dispensation come inside, we go render them null and void, or we kind of like go back and at the drawing board and say let's start again. But why is it that these people where the old executive elect or select, when they run the show, they're still in parliament in a legal institution, but the one they will pick them and choose them, they are illegal. How does that make sense?
That is honestly because they blackmail everybody into silence, into this distraction. Remember, from where this Fisher ruling happened, nobody in the country or within the own party have been talking about them, because by then from April, so distraction at the country until when we don't arrest the public elections bill. Some quietness happen. You see again now they try to introduce distractions in all kinds of forms, incite people into demonstrations, this state orchestrated distractions. The main problem here is how democratic organizations from civil society, journalists, political parties now focus on voter education, voter mobilization, registration, making sure we police make NEC produce the list of registration centers as soon as they demand. Today, NEC don't announce their plan for recruit people as registration officers, data entry officers, and all of that. We're going to check that list there for see whether the list is evenly distributed. But we understand, we look at there are more people that are going to be recruited in the southern and eastern parts of the country than it is for the rest of the other parts of the country, even though you have more population in real sense than the western area and northwest or northern region of the country. So you find out, say, these are all issues that political parties should focus on. These are all issues that the media should be discussing. These are all issues that civil society organizations should be discussing. These are all issues that pro-democracy activists should be discussing. But they are not being discussed because these dishonest politicians in alliance with the state are always bringing in conversation for distract people, while then dangerous things are just happen at the country.
Exactly.
It is so we've never witnessed this kind of politics of betrayal, politics of dishonesty, politics of deceit, politics of deception and distraction as we're witnessing it now. And part of it is the failure of opposition politicians for playing their role as opposition politicians. They have to be forced to become the opposition that they are. If they want to be part of the state, they should declare openly for the state. When Anes Kroma was in power, SLPP politicians who wanted to cross over, they came out openly and declared for Anes Kroma. You have the Usubois. You have, what is this APC man from Kailaun that was Robin Fale and all the other people there. So you saw them, they went out openly and declared. If APC politicians want to work with Madabi, they should go openly and declare for them. You cannot go in bed with the regime at night, then in daytime you pretend you are opposition. I mean, you cannot live that way. Because the country in the center, small countries, Salon are so small countries,
that takes
all
me
at the same school.
Exactly.
When you check Fisher, let me make this point.
Right.
When you check Fisher, for example, you check, we all as a the country is so small.
Yeah.
There's nothing somebody will do in the dark that tomorrow morning, we get one Kungu Sapos we go talk. So the fact of the matter, we are all related. We went to the same schools. We've lived in the same communities. Our social networks are almost all the same. So you find out that, you check, for example, Fisher, you find out he went to the same school that some of these opposition politicians went to. They are his classmates and all of that. So if you begin, the more you dig, the more you see the connections, the more you see the threads. So we are saying, if we want to be the same, we declare, say, we show the people that say we are not the same. We are not pretend say we are different. During the day, at night, we are there together.
Right.
It's dishonest.
It is.
So if you are an opposition politician, be an opposition politician. If you want to be a ruling party politician, join the ruling party. There's nothing wrong with that. Other politicians did that in the past.
Exactly.
There's nothing that will stop you from doing that, but you cannot collaborate with the government.
Exactly.
To destroy order and disturb other opposition politicians who want to be opposition politicians.
Exactly.
Or, destroy other independent organizations, government critics, people who want to engage government and scrutinize government policy should be left alone to do that. You know, go scheme with the state or destroy that, because that is what democracy is about. Everybody should have the right to free participation, free choice.
Mm-hmm. That's democracy.
Freedom of association.
Right.
Freedom of association. That's what the Constitution says.
Yes.
So this we don't go fault. We don't even
Section 26.
So yeah.
Right.
Now they say APC.
I'm not gonna. This point where you make so it's in line with what I want to bring to your attention as well, because you see what's important. A lot of people then they listen to this, they're still in shock. They say, "Yeah, we might see Cherry Coco. But Cherry Coco no go do so. No, we not believe them. Cherry Coco no go behave that way. Cherry Coco a good guy. They go pray every Friday in a mosque. You know." That is the problem, and that is where we are right now, where we're talking about these things, exposing, and with all the evidences, with everything would have happened. So these guys have not been taking no action. They removed 10 members of parliament, above case, because they're in bed with the leading government. People are shocked. Talk to them people in there right now. You don't already talk about that in passing, but specifically those people that are still shocked, when they accept and understand, say, these politicians, something is not right. There is a sellout there.
No, the point I have is, for the last 20 years, I have been speaking about the same things, writing about the same things. And I have tried to make sure that everything I say or do is supported by truth and fact and evidence.
Right.
So that's what I want to underline. And the reason why what we are talking about here is to give the people of Sierra Leone the opportunity for choose for themselves freely. That is what we are saying. And I think it's even surprising when, for example, we take the public elections bill, we talk, say, parliamentarians, both in the opposition side of the opposition, want to pass a law without public knowledge. And indeed, the public did not know about it until we started to talk about it. The first thing we get out is insults from parliamentarians. Now, when we move the discussion for talk, say, part of the crisis, part of the problem of the party, include the factionalization of the party, the two factions represented by parliament and led by the parliamentary leader of the opposition in parliament and also those outside of parliament, it is in the interest of the APC, including the very parliamentarians. Because if you are genuinely a party person, you should not even find problem with the fact, say, with the talk, say, this lawyer will pass, I exclude your own voters from voting. You should be happy for that. And you should also not be having a problem with our position that the factionalization of the party, the court no get right for impose una as executive of the party.
Try for speak proper Creole on this one. This part, not speak English on this side. Talk Creole proper on this side.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Basically, the court no get right for appoint anybody for lead political party. Now the party people are supposed to choose that day. Because the same court no get the right for remove APC MP them from parliament and appoint SLPP MP them. If you not MP them, now member of parliament, they vex for that one day. Wow, glad the way the court take the party, now the executive they had appoint them for to make them take over the party. That's the simple question. So, which opposition leader go allow for make government dismantle your political party and then take the party and hand them over to you? Now you see, if it had been solution, really not solution. Nobody argue right now, sir. Would I get majority? Would I not get majority? Would I forget 14 people? Would I appoint the people there for organize the election or not? It shows say, then took about two. They not get genuine interest. Because they get genuine interest, they know they argue self over the party in affair. Waiting them for fact now how the party for come together, how the party go organize itself and prepare and mobilize their supporters, get them registered, prepare for campaign, and get Madabio out. But each one of them people they are they fight for their own interest. That the only reason they make this internal party conflict go on. Everybody have their own flag bearer or their own flag bearer ambition hidden within. There's nothing wrong. You want to be president. Just come out and say, you know what, I declare myself to be president. Then people are assessing how you qualify, you not qualify, you're a good person, you can be supported. But you cannot hold your party hostage in alliance with the state. And in this case, there is no way you could talk, say, Fisher, they carry out a genuine decision. Because in the first place, when the APC lawyer, the SSF did not talk, say, Fisher not supposed to practice law. Not what we talk about. When SSF on a talker, we then take Fisher for say for serve as prosecutor for jail Paolo Conte. When your lawyer, the SSF, when are members of the party, then talk, say, this man not supposed for practice law. Now, when your lawyer, the SSF talk, say, and when our members then talk, say, the man not supposed to be judge. Now, the person when a question is not supposed to practice law in a salon, you're not supposed to be judge. Now, the same person take the political party, give that for manage. Now, when they say again, when other group, when all don't take the party, take over the party through this court here, then the whole meeting and they tell us, so I don't go back to PPRC, maybe PPRC say no. Now, in fact, we can't have majority, we not get more majority for whole meeting than the other group. Now, all the answer to the problem. They will not want for talk, say, we not members of parliament. Why me think, say, the blame has to be squarely on members of parliament? These are lawmakers. Members of parliament are supposed to uphold the constitution and the law. They are lawmakers. They are not lawbreakers. They should not be part of any process that breaks the law. Any process, whether they are beneficiaries or victims of that process, they should not allow it. So by merely accepting that, they don't set themselves up as agents of the state in their own political party by accepting illegality. So for the rest of the other group, that one day then they don't already don't identify themselves as people the way they against the new party by taking their party to court, whether they have genuine reasons or not. But here we have a case that was taken in front of a court that was led or still led by a judge who the APC themselves have talked, say, you don't get right for practice law, na saloon. So you see the duplicity. So when we raise these issues, it's in the interest of the APC and its membership. Because if power change in a saloon, the APC comes up. Not we could be members of our government. We have always remained as critics of APC when we have been in a power tried 10 years ago. So now the way how we run the country bad way back, with this same position where we take the criticize bad government and bad policies and bad actions and activities. Now we still continue. So we position or change. Now your position change from ruling party to opposition, now to opposition in opposition, opposition within opposition. Now that's what they tell you now.
Right.
The same way we the whole matter be saying a problem for the country. If we see una back, una a problem, we have to also tell the people that you are a problem because you are basically a government in waiting.
Right.
So I think me don't get insults to the extent that even ethnic blackmail is being used against me by saying you're there against Fulaman. No.
And let me go there. And Charo, before you even say that, let me make this point. Before you say that, let me
just say this for myself because I want to say my command, I'm your mouth.
Okay.
I've had people, including supporters of the parliamentary leader, saying you are running after your own ethnic brother. No, for me, the problem of Sierra Leone, I don't talk on the interest of the country supersede my own individual connection or relationship with people. The country is number one. My relationship with other people is secondary when it comes to national interest. And I have more friends in the SLPP than I have in the APC, including people who are in higher places. But I've taken my pen and take up the mission and expose them when I saw they are transferring money and stealing money. Some of them, or many of them, most of them are not even talking to me. Some of them also use people to insult me. Some did not. So if I see my own brother or my own self, they do the same thing, I will call the person out. Because in the final analysis, if crisis happens in Sierra Leone, it will affect me, it will affect my family, That is the country I call home. Na my own country, Dandy. So for those, them people that way they can na my phone, they send me audio message, they cost me. I get the message and they're all. I have decided to save them. Some of them I have decided to keep. Right. But I just assure when I say ethnicity and favoritism is not part of my job.
Right.
My job is to hold every politician or public official accountable to good governance and the principles of transparency, regardless of my relationship with you. And I do not do it with malice. Okay?
Comrade,
so,
you know...
the same way, I have done again my work for 20 years to now. I have never written any word or sentence against any group or person where I'm not able to justify and provide evidence of. I just want to say that.
Absolutely.
So, Nadane, I want to...
Right.
And insult. And you cause me any kind of cause, and not stop me for doing my work. It will only enhance me to do my work because I stand on truth and my conscience and facts.
Right.
Not so I just want to re-emphasize that.
And thank you. And let me say this, General. Let me say this. You see, because President Bio today, when a president, if they share your articles them against the APC party, so for APC supporters, them we want forget any doubt. That is the kind of person we want to get in General Banaya in the African Express. Let me tell you something. You know, I admire the courage of Chenoba. You know why I admire the courage of Chenoba? For one of the APC supporters, them and they talk about the African Express, Mr. Chenoba, who they tuna, yeah, now they talk about right now. You know, some people don't go tell me if any ethnic group within Sierra Leone tight knit, or I say tight knit, people they will agree. Now full of people them. Then agree bad, then get the association, then they together as a family, they love themselves. You know, when you look at the full of people like the Lebanese, they're going to go together and they together and they finance themselves and they help themselves with projects, their money, start business, all of them kind of activity. I want to listen attentively to this point where they make. And I didn't say this from there, you know, brother Chenoba, with me, I feel good. But what's in a Chenoba name? The only difference between here Honorable Cherry Coco, now the middle name them. They're all two na Chenoba. They're all two na Chenoba. This man, and I believe say, and I've never asked African Express this, but I believe say somewhere, somehow, he and Cherry Coco, them, they don't meet and they talk, they have a relationship to a point. This is nothing, this was a patriotism at the highest. I want to listen attentively, because they can't have for waste your time. And you know, Comrade and Cashbox now come in on this one and help me on that. You know, and I'll bring Comrade first, because they're silent for a while, and I know say you want to allow the African Express for making points them. But you know, tell me, you know, Comrade, in the community, for let we brother the African Express go to this extent. He say, you know what, I get this fact, I get this evidence, I get this tool. I'm going to talk about this. People they call them and brother them and this and that. You know, Comrade, talk to me. So tell me why they think this way. I don't know, but talk to me back.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. You know, the who can talk say the country none of the bigger picture than all of us or any individual or any tribe or political party. Ibrahim, you go favor a family, but if a family, you get for favor for jeopardize the country. If you're not possible, we're a real patriot. We be say you know to tribalist. You're not possible to look for a nationalistic point of view. You be say you get objective in your fight. You put the family aside because your country. A big pass anything, something to the people today, it will affect you directly, but something will affect you indirectly tomorrow, something you picking, or your grand picking, or somebody of your family member for support. So, Chenoba, no one can pan this fight as a say, he can't as full man. He come as a Sierra Leonean. What he been done to do from over 20 years against government, them not to say it started by APC. From the days of the MPRC, he came to the SLPP, to the AFRC, he came to the SLPP, he came to APC. Now he don't do continuous SLPP. But the fight they intensify because Salon as to the whole, as to the corruption, they become, you know, it don't become a pandemic now society. So the entire nation will become corrupt because if you able to corrupt people in mindset, if they don't corrupt everything.
Oh, yeah.
So at this point in time, for long as somebody where you know na patriotic to the highest level that day, for say no me na Fulaman, that man or two maybe related directly. Into na Fulaman, it in a parliament. But if I please say for now, I disagree with his behavior that he's not doing what you would expect him or you know do much. No, I need for come to come. Ibrahim, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Over put to country above political party, above tribe, above region, above anything. Because at the end of the day, if we begin putting them on top, say, this is my brother, I'm a fuller brother, I'm a brother, I'm a maningo brother, like I'm in demand, and I'm in the brother. Now, anything, and I'm malilimia, then they do all kinds of for cover up, the team for them motivate you, but the bad. So at that point in the day, they do out of sincerity, out of any malice or jealousy, or was it they talk anything because you cannot, he's not a member of any political party that are forced to start, and you know intend for run for anything. It's just do out of sincerity, not to say out of malice, and then people to understand. Because until they can constant over, he and Jericho are not family self. We camp and come. Jericho by Jericho, they go for what you also the talk. See now, Fulaman say me, Musi them say na me family go talk away, don't necessarily don't to that point. But at this time, then put on the relationship self aside. And I tell you one thing: if he even Jericho self this thing in an objective point of view. Sometimes they would have criticize you, draw near you. Sometimes they tell the truth because alone don't live in the society. All my one go for good big person. You know, get my telling the truth. While some of who refuse to say, no, give me nothing. Like just tell the truth. Make equal opportunity for everybody. That's what everybody is fighting for. If you be selfish or you want to do something, SLP for them be the best government. So all of it also for who could there. If for them be a very good asset focus SLP for teach and low money, wreck the country. Then tell the talk about the corruption, ability. Maybe you Mr. Ibrahim. We don't ever know that the level of T4 apart from Africanist press and release dynamic, we know the level of destruction with non-counters alone. So anybody who is in a petrol Sierra Leone, whatever you listen to this man, say he's saying it out of in an both of them they share the thing. When they jubilate, ASF don't thief, Madam Berono so. What's wrong now for let's say we get opposition inside opposition. What's wrong for identify the bad politician they play, for let them aid Madam you, for one for knock top political opponent them, and two for aid them for like get easy going with the second round. People they think it's not about him. In the out of saloon. So the thing is, the man is saying this thing in an objective and then clear point of view. Don't grow with anything. No. So he not care about the tribe anymore. He don't care about the team they carry. He care about the poor people them. He care about we don't have an effective opposition to government accountable.
Absolutely.
No, make I just add something and clarify a few things. If I do my work in reference to being selective, I don't right against the theft that Madabio is engaged in. In fact, all of the politicians in Sierra Leone, from the former president to the current president, to many of the ministers, both some of them in the past, and most of them in the current government are people I know personally. I don't sit down with them at restaurants. I don't talk with them. Some of them, they call me their friend. We exchange views. But and at this, many of them make mistake because they begin to, even who they write about corruption, I don't get a couple of senior people in the government, they call me, if anything will settle. I said, there's nothing to settle here. I don't get personal conflict with anybody. And everybody listen to me if they remember in the 10 years of the APC under President Nkrumah, they remember my voice, they remember what I did, they remember my activities. So if and when we begin hold Madabio accountability, they say that APC are the defend because the SLPP thinks by saying that people then begin to say no, this man was here during the last government, he did the same thing, and then they begin bringing even evidence of the SLPP newspaper, the SLPP politician, maybe they share we work. So basically, when we remind parliamentarians about their responsibility and ask them for do right and stand up for defend the constitution, defend democracy. It's not an attack on them as individuals. It's an effort to assist them to be able to represent the people and give the people a hope. And try, in the final analysis, it's even in their own advantage. So, what are they trying to say? Basically, it's just like when you're not daddy. If you're not papa, you get picking them, or you get papa and mama, they beat in picking, not because you're not lekker, because you want to make it straight, my work are fine. So, because you're not disciplined, you picking definitely the street get for discipline and for you. So it is better you hit the problem where it has emerged right there, so that the picking will not say this is the problem and we will address them before the street go address them for you. So I just want to say that one day that the parable that they were say. So I hold no animosity against any politician. If I've been select, I know for write about Madabio, I know for write about the corruption of Fatima Bio, I know for write about the corruption of David Francis, I know we talk about the corruption of the entire Bio administration, I know we've been talk about Ernest Nkrumah in government at the time. So basically, it has nothing to do with ethnicity or ethnic consideration or an ethnic fight. No, it's about the country that we care about. We want good for the country because we all as Sierra Leoneans, we get picking there. We also for return and work in a country and be able to serve the country in a genuine way. So we got to clean the country.
Absolutely.
And that includes any politician we action or activity go hamburg the general aspiration of the public. We're supposed to hold on to task. Whether now we family members or non-family members.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, China. You know, I think Salon people this audio don't long is 1 hour 40 minutes. I think say low left and I know see some of them for review this, listen them over and over again. But it's time to end the madness and the people get on power and get on authority for take over on a political party back. We don't make a couple of suggestions them to Una. I think say at this point, the 21-man committee them for bring the party to order. The people get the right for take on a party back and hand them over to the former executive where we get the authority because we vote for them. No courts no get power for go dictate political party affairs. This will happen, so it only happen under SLPP. If APC be try them, when Mada Biobi they make them kill John Benjamin in security guard and it's a peace pack and you can let them. If APC be try for interfere inside the SLPP politics, I'm telling you, enough will happen. And that happen. And at the same way, not say the people who get on authority, take on a party back, possibly hand them to the old executive and say, "Una take me to a convention. Una take me to a convention. Una can contest for position. Like can show himself." That is the power of democracy. Power of the people, for the people, and by the people. So, we don't explain a lot of things. Cheroba don't explain a lot of things. Cashbox don't talk. Comrade Kocha don't talk. We not review the review no more now. We now know what we listen to. When they see members of parliament, they use them about in a social media. For can talk all kinds of jabla. All kinds of jabla. But when they listen them, we know say what they come talking rights not correct. But we continue for condone them. Now we talk about Fred Peter Conte. We warn una. We tell una say this guy. They get bad plan. Una alla pa we hope so don't learn a lesson moving forward. We'll talk. A yang if for quiet. They can mislead una. Nobody know the bribe. We don't get no interest. When I go on my YouTube page, when I go on my Facebook page, channel bag for you say I go say you my YouTube page. Go just peruse through. There's a lot of things where you don't know, Brian. Salon people get for wake up. Put the interest of the country first. When I put your interest above all else. Cheroban, I'm in room there, so I can tell communicator and Cashbox, they're not anything there. Not what you want to talk about. They can put my personal life in the public domot. But to God, we don't get no business for to talk about salon issues if we don't let we country and let the people there. So of whom they know my big person man, the one of those society they call but we didn't we manage life no more. We say, what thing? The same life we live, one of people and live them because it is not far-fetched. We nation is gentry, I don't get money. We believe that. I don't know, channel, anybody if not for close when I close up, we left the people with this message there only 1 hour 42 minutes.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Comrade.
Yeah.
You good?
I did.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Cheno, you want to close up? Any last two sentences? Go long again. Short one or more.
No, I just think we don't already tell the people what to do. It's high time for the APC then begin to take action for dissolve the illegal 21-man committee and find a solution. As citizens, we need for also take on the judiciary regarding the continuous retention of Adrian Fisher and the continuous role as a mercenary within the judiciary for destroy democratic institutions. We will announce those actions that need to be taken in due course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.